Imagine a world where the most famous weakness of the greatest hero simply vanished. Not through a heroic sacrifice or a grand magical spell, but a quiet, almost mundane transformation. One ordinary afternoon, in a secure research facility, a hum intensified, a light flared, and the emerald glow of Kryptonite, the very bane of Superman's existence, began to fade. It shimmered, warped, and then, before the astonished eyes of scientists, it settled into a dull, reddish-brown iron. Just harmless iron. The Emerald Curse, a cosmic shard that had shadowed his entire life, dissolved into nothing more than inert metal. For countless years, the mere proximity of Kryptonite had rendered the Man of Steel powerless, vulnerable, often on the brink of death. It was the Achilles heel that humanized him, a constant reminder that even gods could fall. Now it was gone, forever. A new era, it seemed, had dawned for Superman, one free from his most iconic vulnerability. But as the universe seemed to offer a sigh of relief for Earth's champion, a new shadow began to coalesce, silently, from the very air. Not a meteor, not a mad scientist's ray, but something far more unsettling. It was like living sand, coalescing, shifting, vaguely humanoid, yet utterly alien. Its first appearance was unassuming, a fleeting disturbance in the city's hum. Then it encountered Superman. In that first confrontation, a chilling sensation, not of pain, but of emptiness, washed over the hero. His strength, his invulnerability, his very essence seemed to simply trickle away. The sand-like being pulsed, almost absorbing the energy around it, and with each fleeting touch, Superman felt himself diminish. Confusion warred with alarm. He had faced countless threats, from rampaging monsters to cosmic tyrants, but never one that dissolved his very being from within. This was a direct assault on his fundamental nature, on what made him Superman. As the sand being became a recurring, terrifying presence, its attacks grew more frequent, more potent. Each encounter left Superman weaker, more depleted, forcing him to retreat, to recover, to question the very limits of his being. He couldn't punch it, it dispersed. He couldn't burn it, it reformed. It was an entity seemingly without form, yet with the devastating power to drain the incredible energy that flowed through his Kryptonian cells. The world watched, perplexed, as their seemingly invincible protector found himself in a struggle unlike any before. He was not just fighting for survival, he was fighting for his very identity. The investigation into this mysterious entity was exhaustive, drawing on the greatest minds of Earth and even beyond. Every scientific avenue, every arcane text, every cosmic database was scoured for answers. The stakes were impossibly high. If this being could drain Superman's powers at will, what hope did anyone have? Then, the truth, when it finally emerged, was a twist of cosmic irony, almost poetic in its cruelty. This being, this embodiment of his eroding power, was a mirror. A duplicate, crafted not by some distant villain, but from the very core of his own energy. It was a fragment of himself, animated and given a terrifying, draining existence through a strange confluence of cosmic forces, or perhaps the very experiment that eliminated Kryptonite had inadvertently unleashed it. This wasn't an external invader, it was a crisis of self. Superman was quite literally fighting himself. The most powerful being on Earth was locked in a battle where his opponent was an echo of his own essence, absorbing his very strength to grow. This monumental shift, the permanent removal of Kryptonite and the introduction of a new internal threat, wasn't just a random plot point. It was a major status quo shift in the 1970s, a bold and deliberate attempt to modernize Superman. In the freewheeling, often experimental landscape of 1970s comic books, change was in the air. Heroes were becoming more introspective, their challenges more personal. The idea was simple yet radical. Remove his most famous Achilles heel, a vulnerability that had perhaps become too convenient, too predictable. In its place, introduce a new, more personal kind of threat. It was an audacious move, a complete reimagining of the character's fundamental vulnerability. By making his own energy his potential undoing, the creators introduced a psychological depth that Kryptonite, for all its potency, could never quite achieve. It forced Superman, and by extension us, to confront questions of identity, of inner strength versus external power. What does it mean to be Superman if your powers can be turned against you by a part of yourself? This wasn't just a physical battle, it was an existential one. While the Kryptonite Nevermore storyline and the Sand being duplicate was eventually reverted, Kryptonite, in various forms, would inevitably return to the Superman mythos. Its impact was profound. It temporarily redefined the hero's limits, challenged readers' perceptions, and demonstrated a willingness on the part of the creators to take immense risks with their most iconic character. It was a powerful statement about growth and evolution, even for someone as seemingly immutable as Superman. It's a reminder that even the strongest among us can find their greatest challenges not in external threats, but in the reflections of themselves, in the unexpected vulnerabilities that arise from our own being. This storyline, though fleeting in its ultimate effect on Superman's powers, remains a testament to the courage of storytelling, pushing a beloved character into uncharted, uncomfortable, yet incredibly compelling territory. What are your thoughts on this bold move to redefine Superman? Did you prefer him with or without Kryptonite? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the fascinating history of our favorite heroes, please consider following for more stories that explore the depth and evolution of comic book legends.